still venting, but it's close, so we're gonna do this.
Step that I take, I don't feel good and my body starts to shake. I fell in love with a girl, I haven't seen her met so far.
Alright everybody, guy came out, so I didn't want to do the hookups and all that with the GoPro on because the guy came out too soon, so I had to hurry and go ahead and get hooked up. But I'll show y'all what the setup is here. As y'all can see, we have our product line hooked up to the customer's line. All right, for people who don't know, like ball valves like this, if you see the handle going this way but the pipe goes this way, that means the pipe's closed, or the valve's actually closed. The handle goes long ways, that means the valve's open. So just think open going with the flow. Like this way, you're blocking flow. That's one way to know. So that's stopping the flow because bam, it's a cutoff. Like this, flow's coming through. So you got your product line, there's our air line. Luckily this place has customer air, so we've got the air line here. Let's run up to the top of the trailer. I've got to get the air line looked at because I hooked up there, it didn't give me air. I hooked up on the back line, run up, it did not give me air. So somewhere, but yet when I open the bleed off down here to bleed off the tank, air come out through the lines. So there's a clog somewhere between here and up there. There's a clog somewhere in this freaking line. But, so you hook air to the trailer, you blow air in the trailer, that pressurizes the trailer. It's just kind of like you're blowing in a 2-liter bottle, or your water bottle. You can suck it down, but then you blow air into it and blow it back up. That's what you do with a trailer when you're unloading a liquid tanker. You pressurize it so that it builds up pressure. Here's the internal valve. This internal valve here is inside that pipe right up there. Can't really see, but there's 2 little pins. But they're actually, let me double check. Yeah, they lowered. Okay, see those 2 pins right there? If you can see them, they're raising up. As I pump this hydraulic jack handle, that raises those pins up and that opens that valve. Then you've got another valve right here. This is called your external valve. That's your internal, this is your external valve. Now, whenever you clean out a trailer, they always take this apart, pull this apart and pull this out and clean that valve too, or this valve. So then as the pressure runs, it pushes your product through the line into their tank. So that's good. I've got the guy, he signed my paperwork. So I've got paperwork signed for the customer. Doo-dah, doo-dah. But yeah, I got in here right at 6 o'clock this morning. They got me right in, no problem. So we got my hose rack on. I got a bucket over there up underneath the valve, so in case something drips, you got that. And of course, rubber gloves. Always want to wear your freaking gloves when you're done with chemicals. And of course, I've got my meter right here on my drive, so I can kind of tell. You watch that and see as it's going down, then that'll let you know that, hey, you are unloading. Like it just went from 24.5 to 24.4. So that dropped, 100 pounds. Dropped another 100 pounds. Dropped another 100 pounds. So as you can see, it's unloading fairly quick. Just dropped another 100 pounds. So we're unloading pretty good using Plan Air. Now on my motor, I've got a 2-stage Bendix air compressor. Every truck has an air compressor that fills with their air tanks for their brakes and everything else. Their seat, I mean, you know, my seat here is air ride. But with a chemical tanker, you really want a 2-stage, because a 2-stage gives double the action. Instead of just one piston going up, now you've got 2 pistons producing air. So when you come to a plant that doesn't have air for you to use, you have to use your own. Like we would take stuff out to the oil drilling well sites out in the middle of the freaking, you know, desert in Texas. Well, there's no Plan Air out there, so we'd have to use truck air to unload. So, which is, I will show y'all again to explain this. Pardon me, y'all, I got spit. So when you have to use truck air, I've got this tied into my air tank underneath there. Then I'll actually take and hook up that air line to here, then run that air line to the trailer. Then I'll open this valve, let my truck air actually fill up the trailer, and then that's how we unload. Alright y'all, we're gonna call it quits on this for right now. When I go to unload or take everything off, I'll show y'all and we'll be back in just a bit. Alright everybody, it's almost empty. So, you know, you can still feel the weight in it. But one way you can tell whether you're empty or not, you can kind of close the valve here slowly. Listen for that gurgle, so you can tell there's still product in it. Or another way is to close the valve up here if you're uncertain. Slowly close this valve and you'll see your hose tighten up and jump. Okay, when I close it, watch it jump. And then plus you can hear it in here, so that lets you know that you still got product running through the line. But I'm getting close to being empty. This is just one way that you can tell. They said this stuff's pretty light, so that's a good thing. Now when you're unloading a tanker, best thing to do when you know you're getting close, just keep your hand on the hose. Keep your hand on the hose and you'll feel the liquid surge through when it's getting done. Kind of like a straw at the last minute, you know, you can feel that air pockets in the straw. Same thing on here, you'll be able to feel the air pockets going through. Now when that happens, what I normally do, I will close the valve on the trailer. Don't close it on here, because then you're building up pressure in your line. Close the valve on the trailer. Let it sit for a few minutes. That way you give, because it's liquid, not all liquid is like water, it just runs down. Some liquid is thicker. It takes time to run down the walls. So as it slowly unloads, of course it's running the walls, but when it gets that last bit running down from the front, even though our trailer has fall, you want to make sure that you get as much liquid as you can, because these tank washes charge you. They'll give you like 5 gallons of product in the trailer without charging you. After 5 gallons of product that's still in the trailer, they charge you. Some places charge you $20, $30, $40 a gallon, depending on what you have. So you close your valve, let it sit for about 5 minutes, then go ahead and open the valve again. That gives the product time to go ahead and run back here to the back. Then when you open the valve back here, then it'll flush that last little bit out. So that's the proper ways of doing a tanker here, y'all. Trying to see if there's and here it comes. See, sometimes you'll see your hose jump. That's another way you'll know that you're empty, when you see your hose jump. Then of course you can pick up and you'll feel the difference in the weight of it. Now, since this is on the inside of the building, hurry up and close your valve. Because inside the building, we'll look and see, you've got tanks on the inside of the building. Now, if they don't have them venting up out the roof, then you'll be venting the steam inside. Now here it looks, I see a pipe up there going up. So they may actually have it venting out the roof, but just in case, hurry up and close it as quick as you can. That way you're not blowing the fumes, because every tank that you unload to has to have a vent. Because, you know, you're putting product in, so you're pushing air, so you're displacing air out of the tank. Also, when they're pumping from the tank, well, they've got to be able to draw air into the tank so you don't collapse the tank. So every tank has a vent. So just in case, in some places they actually have their vents on the inside, they don't vent them on the outside in some of the smaller. Now this is a big plant here. I'm sure their vents are up on the roof. But some of the smaller places, they don't have the vents up in the roof, so you want to make sure you don't vent the fumes on the inside. So hurry up and close that valve so you're not blowing all the fumes inside the plant. So now, you know, we just wait for a few seconds. I'll go ahead and turn the air off. That way we're not pumping any more air. So we should have enough, plenty of air in the trailer. So you can go ahead and come up here. Close this valve here, disconnect your pipe. See, now I wasn't getting any air through here, so I don't know what's the story on this. We're gonna try it and see if maybe it'll blow out. But yeah, it sounded like it opened up and then stopped. We'll give this a whirl, because here's a bleed off. The air will come down, you open this, and that'll bleed the air out the trailer. So see, no air is coming out. So there's a clog somewhere between here and there. There's a clog in this line. But this wouldn't even push it out. So I have to go back and unhook that, but I want to wait until I blow the line clear, then I'll undo that. So, you know, common courtesy is you put the hose back up. Always leave things, well, I would say leave things as you find them, but if the driver before you didn't do it, do it. Wrap stuff up. I mean, make it nice and neat. Don't leave stuff jacked up and janked up for the freaking next guy to have to clean up and deal with. That's just, it's not right, y'all. So I always leave things nice. We're good here. Now, still got my valves open. So now you'll come up, you'll open it again, and you'll probably hear it pushing through. So you can tell that there was still some more product in there. So then you want to close your internal valve first. Go ahead and let it blow for a second to clear the line. You'll close your internal. Then you close your external here, because you don't want to leave air trapped. If you close this first, you're going to leave air trapped in between here and the internal valve. Then if this valve happens to leak, it'll push it out of this valve. So you always want to close your internal first. That way there's no pressurized air here. You'll close that. Now, to be on the safe side, before you unhook any pressurized line, we'll put that under there, we'll close their valve. Now some of these tanks, you unload into the bottom of a tank, so you're gonna have back pressure pushing. Some tanks that you unload into the top and it just falls down. If it just falls down in the tank, this line shouldn't have any pressure on it, because once I close that pressure, any kind of pressure should have been relieved through the line that just goes in the tank if it just drops in the tank. This is called a bleed off. This bleed off will relieve any pressure that's in between here and here where we close the line. So you'll open that. Really no pressure, just a little bit of product. If that's all you got, now you know it's clear. You're good to open your line. So now, let me get my cap. Grab your cap. Disconnect your line. We'll go ahead and close the bleed off. Stick this directly under here. That way if anything comes out, you're good. Put their cap on. Cap off your hose. Now you know you're good to come over here and take off your hose on here. But just like before, always stick a bucket under there because, you know, this line can still have something in it. Just, you know, sense of gravity. Just like that, see? You don't want to spill on any customer's freaking ground. That's not cool. Like, I can feel it all right here. Close your line up. Line's closed. Make sure this cap's tight. That's tight. All right. Then we got our bucket. We got our hose. So we know we're good. Now you come off and bleed off because you're legally not allowed to drive a tank with pressure on it. So we're gonna take this off and we're gonna bleed off the air pressure. I personally hate trying to drag the hoses on the ground. So I try to get them and loop them around so you can carry them so you're not dragging them. Because all that does is scuff up and scrape off the hose. Put our hose back on the hose rack. We're just gonna do it this way, y'all. Grab a bungee. All right, we'll just do this here. There we go. Now we know they're not going anywhere. All right, we grab this. Now when I go to a tank wash, I need to make sure they rinse this out because this has product. See, this ain't what I had. That's a different product. Let's see how a driver left this on the ground. I mean, I hate that because then they can think that's you, even though I had a different product. They can still think, man, the driver left it a mess. Now, on here, flip this valve, it puts air back to the airbags. As y'all can see, it's raising the trailer back up. So by lowering the bags, you put angle, so instead of it being like this, now the trailer's tilted like this, so the liquid falls through the back more. We still got that bleeding off, so legally you can't leave it till that's bled off. But by the time I get up there, all the pressure should be gone. I should be good to go. Always bungee your buckets up tight. And they have a dumpster here, so I'll throw this in the dumpster. Dude, I know this is a long video, y'all, but I'm showing you the full deal of what I could on unloading. See, and I replaced my lights this weekend. I got 2 out already. All right. Still venting, but it's close, so we're gonna do this. We're gonna open this up to let it kind of bleed out faster. So we'll open these up to let it bleed out, but you don't ever take them completely off until the pressure's built, because you don't want the dome lid coming up on you. As y'all can see, the fumes. Then you just kind of step back until it's finished, because it's always good to make sure you look in the trailer to make sure you did get it all out. Even though, you know, we opened the valve, we let it sit. We did get it, but you know, it's always good just to make sure that you don't leave a product. So it's a good thing, bleed it out, open the dome lid, look inside the trailer, and just double check. Break the seal, because the seal's only good, it's only useful to the customer to let the customer here know that nobody's tampered with it, nobody's been in it, so they know they got exactly what was loaded. And now you look in, and as you can see, she looks pretty clean, pretty empty, y'all. And that's what this side trailer looks like, and that's what you want to see. I'm not gonna stick my head down in there, but I can tell by here that it's real thin, the way it's not all down the sides, so you can tell it was a thin product. And you want to close these back, because even though it is an empty trailer, it is still illegal to drive with these ears open. And the thing that's so funny, they say even an empty clean tanker, they say even a tanker that's empty and clean, you still have to have that, which to me doesn't make sense. Makes no sense at all. They say all ports have to be closed. I mean, it literally makes no sense to me. If you have an empty clean trailer, why everything has to be closed? Because DOT actually said something to me one time, because I had an empty clean trailer, got stopped and I had this open. Had this off, had the valve open, because you were allowing air to come through the trailer as you drive to help dry the trailer, because sometimes you don't dry the trailers just to save on money. So if it's not that important, you're not going right to a customer. Like if you're driving, you know, 100 miles, you know, or you're headed back to a terminal or something with a trailer, you can not dry it and let it air dry. So you crack the dome lid ears up there, open the valve here, and then air will flow through it and actually dry the trailer out. But I had DOT say something, but that's not like, it's an empty clean trailer. That, to me, that's no different than having a box trailer, like a status box trailer, with those vents on the front and the back trailer for air to come through it. It's no different than that, because it's empty. You have a washout ticket saying this was clean, it was sanitized, there's nothing in it, but they still want to say so. So, well, y'all, that is it. I'm headed back to Richmond, Virginia. I'll wash out in Richmond on Monday morning. Then I reload going to Pine Bluff, Arkansas, delivering out there as soon as I can. Anyway, y'all, we will holler at y'all later. Peace out.